At 76 years old, Billy Joel did something no one was ready for. He said goodbye. Not a quiet step back. Not a slow fade. A real, clear decision. He recorded a final message and made it known. He was done. For decades, he had been a constant. His songs were everywhere. On the radio. In cars. At weddings. In late-night moments when people needed something familiar. And suddenly, that voice was telling fans it was over. People didn't believe it at first. Some thought it was just another break. Others assumed it was health-related rumors getting out of control. But then the message came out. Calm. Direct. No drama. Just him speaking the truth in his own way. And that's what made it hit harder. Because Billy Joel never really chased attention like other stars. He didn't need to. His music did the work. His shows stayed sold out for years without him needing to reinvent himself every few months. So when someone like that decides to walk away, people notice. They start asking questions. Why now? What changed? What aren't we being told? The answer isn't simple. It's not just one thing. It's a lifetime catching up. To understand why he made this decision at 76, you have to go all the way back. Back before the fame. Before the sold-out arenas. Before Piano Man. Back to a kid in New York who didn't have much, except a piano and a lot of pressure. Billy Joel was born into a world that didn't feel stable. He grew up in New York City, but not the version people imagine today. This wasn't bright lights and success. It was a working-class life, where money was tight and things could change fast. One of the biggest changes came early. His father left the family when he was still young. There wasn't a long explanation. No real closure. One day, his father was part of his life, and then he wasn't. That kind of thing stays with a kid. It changes how they see everything. Family, trust, even themselves. That left his mother to raise him on her own. She was strong but strict. She believed in discipline. She believed in structure. And most of all, she believed her son needed something to focus on. That's where the piano came in. She pushed him into lessons, even when he didn't want to go. Especially when he didn't want to go. While other kids were outside playing, he was sitting in front of keys, repeating scales, learning pieces, doing it over and over again. It wasn't fun. Not at first. Sometimes he hated it. But something slowly started to shift. He got better. Faster than expected. The frustration turned into something else. Control. The piano, things made sense. Notes followed rules. Music had structure. It didn't leave like people did. School, on the other hand, was a different story. He didn't feel like he fit in. He wasn't the best student. He wasn't interested in the usual path people expected him to follow. There was always this feeling that he was a little out of place, like he didn't quite belong where he was. And when you feel like that long enough, you start looking for a way out. For him, that way out was music. Not just practicing what he was told, but playing what he felt. Trying things his own way. Listening to different sounds. Letting the piano become something more personal. It wasn't about lessons anymore. It was about expression. But life outside the piano didn't get easier. Money was still tight. The pressure from home didn't go away. And growing up without a father in the house left a gap that never really filled. That kind of pressure builds quietly. It doesn't always show right away, but it shapes decisions later. It pushes people in directions they don't fully understand at the time. For Billy Joel, it started creating a pattern. He didn't want a normal life. He didn't want a safe path. He wanted out. And he was getting closer to making that decision. By the time Billy Joel hit his teenage years, the pressure had turned into something else. Restlessness. School felt like a dead end. Sitting in a classroom, listening to lessons he didn't care about, following rules that didn't make sense to him, it all started to feel pointless. He wasn't failing because he couldn't do the work. He just didn't see the value in it. What he cared about was music. Not the strict piano lessons from childhood, but real music. The kind he was hearing on the radio. Rock, soul, rhythm and blues. Songs that felt alive. Songs that didn't follow rules the way classical music did. He started spending more time playing on his own. Writing small pieces. Messing around with melodies. trying to copy sounds he heard, then slowly turning them into something different. At the same time, he got pulled into a different crowd. Other kids like him. Kids who didn't feel like they fit in. Kids who wanted something bigger than the life in front of them. Some of them were musicians. Some weren't. But they all had that same energy, like they were trying to escape. And that's when live music came in. Small gigs. Local bands. Nothing big. Just noisy rooms, cheap equipment, and people trying to be heard. But for him, it was everything. Being on stage, even in front of a small crowd, felt different than anything else. It wasn't about being perfect. It wasn't about following rules. It was raw, unpredictable, and real. He wanted more of that. So he started making choices that pushed him further away from the normal path. Eventually, he dropped out of high school. No backup plan. No safety net. Just music. It wasn't a dramatic moment with a big speech. It was quiet. Almost casual. But it changed everything. Once he made that decision, there was no going back. From that point on, he wasn't just a kid learning piano anymore. He was chasing something. And he was willing to risk everything to get it. The problem with chasing something big is that most of the time, it doesn't work right away. For Billy Joel, the early years were rough. He joined bands, left bands, joined new ones, each time hoping this would be the one that worked. Each time ending the same way. No money, no real success, just more uncertainty. One of his early groups started getting a little attention. Not much, but enough to make things feel like they were moving. That small bit of progress made everything seem possible. But it didn't last. Deals fell apart. Opportunities disappeared. People made promises they didn't keep. At one point, he got stuck in a bad record deal that left him with almost nothing. He had put in the work, spent the time, and still ended up with no control and barely any money. That kind of situation can break people. And for a while, it almost broke him. He was working constantly but not getting anywhere. Playing shows that didn't pay enough. Trying to survive while still holding on to this idea that something better was coming. There were moments when he started to question everything. Was this worth it? Was he good enough? Did he make a mistake leaving school? The doubt wasn't loud. It was quiet, sitting in the background, growing over time. And then things got worse. Financial pressure. Emotional stress. Feeling stuck. It all started to pile up at once. There was a point where he hit a low that he didn't talk about much publicly, but it was real. He was close to walking away. Not just from music, but from everything he had been trying to build. But instead of quitting, he did something else. He disappeared. Not completely, but enough to start over in a different way. He needed space. He needed time. He needed to figure out what music meant to him without all the pressure. That decision didn't fix everything overnight, but it led him to a place that would change his life. After everything that had gone wrong, Billy Joel found himself in a strange situation. He was working in a bar. Not as a star. Not even as someone with a growing career. Just playing piano in a small lounge, night after night, for people who weren't really paying attention. It wasn't glamorous. It was routine. Long hours. Repeating songs. Watching people come and go. Some listening, most not. But in that space, something started to happen. He began to observe the people at the bar, their conversations, their habits, the way they carried themselves, the things they said when they thought no one was really listening. Regulars who showed up every night, people dealing with their own problems, quiet stories happening right in front of him. And instead of ignoring it, he paid attention. That's where the idea came from. Not from a big moment, not from a grand inspiration, just from watching real people live their lives in a small room. And then he wrote Piano Man. The song wasn't flashy. It wasn't trying to impress anyone. It just told the truth about that place and those people. But something about it connected. When it was released, it didn't explode overnight. It built slowly. People heard it, related to it, shared it. Radio stations started playing it more. Audiences started paying attention. For the first time, things felt different. This wasn't just another attempt. This was a breakthrough. Suddenly, Billy Joel wasn't just another struggling musician. He was someone people recognized. Someone whose voice stood out. More opportunities came in. Bigger shows. Better deals. A real chance to build something lasting. But success came with its own pressure. Because once you finally get what you've been chasing, there's a new question waiting for you. Can you keep it? After Piano Man, everything started moving faster for Billy Joel. Not overnight, but steady. Each new song reached more people. Each performance brought bigger crowds. He wasn't just playing bars anymore. He was stepping onto real stages, in front of audiences who came specifically to see him. And that changes everything. The energy is different. The expectations are higher. People aren't just listening. They're watching, judging, remembering. He leaned into it. More albums followed. Songs that sounded different from each other, but still felt like him. He didn't stick to one style. Rock, pop, ballads. He moved between them without asking for permission. That's part of what made him stand out. Songs like Just the Way You Are showed a softer side. Then something sharper would come next. Then something nostalgic. He wasn't trying to fit into a box. And people noticed. The crowds kept growing. Tours got bigger. Venues got larger. What started as small rooms turned into packed arenas. Then into massive shows where thousands of people sang along to every word. At one point, it felt like he was everywhere. Radio stations played his music constantly. His albums sold in huge numbers. His name became familiar even to people who weren't actively following music. Success, in that sense, looked complete. But behind that, the pace didn't slow down. Touring meant constant movement. Different cities every few days. Hotels, flights, sound checks, performances. Over and over again. It sounds exciting from the outside, but living it is different. There's no real routine. No stable place to land. Everything becomes temporary. Even moments that should feel important pass quickly because there's always somewhere else to be. And then there's the pressure to keep producing. Once people expect something from you, it doesn't stop. There's always the next album, the next hit, the next tour, the next step. For Billy Joel, that pressure wasn't always obvious in interviews or on stage. But it was there, building quietly in the background while everything on the surface looked successful. And as his career kept climbing, his personal life started to feel the weight of it. While Billy Joel was building one of the most successful music careers of his time, things offstage weren't nearly as stable. Fame doesn't fix personal problems. If anything, it makes them harder to manage. Relationships were one of the first areas where things became complicated. Being on the road constantly, surrounded by pressure and attention, makes it difficult to hold on to something steady. Marriages came and went, each one starting with hope, then slowly breaking down under the weight of everything around him. From the outside, people saw headlines, but they didn't see the day-to-day reality. The arguments, the distance, the feeling of being disconnected even when you're not alone. At the same time, he was dealing with something else. Alcohol. It didn't start as a major issue. At first, it was just part of the environment. After shows, during downtime, a way to take the edge off. But over time, it became more than that. It turned into a way to cope. With stress. With pressure. With things he didn't want to think about. And like most coping habits, it slowly took up more space than it should have. There were periods where it affected his work, his relationships, his health. Times when things felt like they were slipping out of control, even if he didn't fully admit it in the moment. On top of that, there were deeper struggles. Mental health wasn't something people talked about openly back then. Not in the way they do now. But that doesn't mean it wasn't there. There were lows. Moments where everything caught up at once. Where success didn't feel like enough to balance out everything else going wrong. He kept performing, kept showing up, kept doing what people expected him to do. But behind that, things weren't always steady. There were points where everything could have fallen apart. And for a while, it looked like it might. But somehow, he kept going. Not because everything was fixed, but because stopping didn't feel like an option yet. At a time when most artists push harder to stay relevant, Billy Joel did something unexpected. He stopped making new pop music, not completely stepping away from performing, but from recording new hit albums, from chasing charts, from trying to compete with younger artists. To a lot of people, it didn't make sense. He was still popular. His concerts were still selling out. His name still carried weight. Most artists in that position would keep going, trying to extend that success as long as possible. But he didn't. There wasn't a big announcement at first. No dramatic explanation. He just slowed down on that side of things. Years passed. Fans kept asking the same question. When is the next album coming? And the answer never really changed. He didn't feel the need to do it. Part of it was creative. He had already written so many songs. Songs that covered different parts of his life, different emotions, different styles. He wasn't interested in repeating himself just to stay visible. Another part of it was the industry itself. Music had changed. The way songs were made, promoted, consumed, it wasn't the same world he came up in. And instead of trying to adapt to something that didn't feel natural to him, he chose not to play that game. So instead, he focused on performing. Live shows became his main connection to music. And those shows were still massive. Night after night, fans showed up. Not for something new, but for something familiar. Songs they grew up with. Songs that meant something to them. In a way, he became part of people's memories. But even that started to feel different over time. Doing the same songs, the same performances, again and again. It can wear on you. Even if you love it. Even if the crowd is still there. There's a quiet question that starts to come up. How long can I keep doing this? And for Billy Joel, that question didn't go away. It just got louder as the years went on. The change didn't happen all at once. There was no single moment where Billy Joel suddenly decided it was over. It started slowly. Fewer appearances. More breaks between shows. A slightly different energy on stage that only people close to him really noticed at first. From the outside, everything still looked normal. The crowds were still there. The music was still the same. The performances still delivered what people expected. But behind that, things were shifting. Age plays a role, whether you admit it or not. Touring isn't easy, even for someone much younger. The travel, the late nights, the physical demand of performing, it adds up over time. At 76, it's different. Recovery takes longer. Energy doesn't come back the same way. Small things that didn't matter before start to matter more. There were also health concerns. Nothing always made public in full detail, but enough for people close to him to notice that things weren't as effortless as they used to be. Moments where he seemed more tired, more careful, more aware of his limits. And when you've spent your entire life pushing forward, learning to slow down isn't easy. At the same time, his perspective started to change. Fame didn't feel the same anymore. The need to stay visible, to stay active, it started to fade. What mattered more was time, privacy, space to just exist without constantly being in motion. People around him started to sense it. Not from anything he said directly, but from small changes. The way he talked about the future. The way he approached performances. The way he didn't commit too far ahead. It felt like he was preparing for something. But he wasn't announcing it yet. Fans didn't fully see it at first. They were still showing up, still singing along, still expecting more shows, more moments, more time. But quietly, behind all of that, the idea had already taken shape. The idea that maybe it was time to stop. When the announcement finally came, it didn't feel real. Billy Joel had been part of people's lives for so long that the idea of him stepping away completely just didn't fit. But this time it was different. There was no maybe. No taking a break. No, we'll see what happens. He made it clear. He was done. The message wasn't delivered through rumors or second-hand reports. He recorded it himself. Sat down, spoke directly, and said what he needed to say in his own voice. Calm. Steady. No performance. That's what made it hit harder. He didn't dress it up or turn it into something dramatic. He didn't try to soften it with vague promises about coming back someday. He spoke like someone who had already made peace with the decision. Fans reacted immediately. Shock came first. then disbelief, then a wave of emotion that spread across social media, interviews, and conversations everywhere. People who grew up listening to his music felt like something personal was ending. Because in a way it was. For decades, Billy Joel had been a constant presence. Even when he wasn't releasing new music, he was still there. Still performing. Still showing up. Now, that connection was being cut off. And what made it more difficult was what he didn't fully explain. He gave reasons, but not everything. He talked about time. About feeling like he had done what he set out to do. About wanting a different kind of life moving forward. But there were pauses in his words. Moments where it felt like there was more behind what he was saying. Things he chose to keep private. And that left people asking the same question again. Why now? Because walking away at 76, when he could still fill arenas, when people still wanted more, it didn't follow the usual pattern. Most artists hold on as long as they can. He didn't. He stepped away while he still had control over the decision. And that choice made it clear. This wasn't forced. It was personal. The real reason Billy Joel said goodbye isn't just one thing. It's everything. A lifetime doesn't catch up to you all at once. It builds slowly, piece by piece, until one day you realize the weight of it. Decades of performing. Decades of traveling. Decades of carrying expectations. Even if you love it, it takes something out of you. Physically, the toll is real. Standing on stage for hours. Moving under bright lights. Keeping your voice steady night after night. It's manageable when you're younger. At 76, it becomes something your body has to work harder to handle. Recovery isn't the same. Energy isn't the same. And there comes a point where pushing through doesn't feel worth it anymore. Then there's the mental side. Living in the public eye for that long changes how you experience everything. Privacy becomes rare. Silence becomes rare. Even normal moments can feel interrupted by the fact that people are always watching, always expecting something. Over time, that wears you down. Not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, constant way. And then there's something deeper. The realization that you've already done what you set out to do. Billy Joel built a career most people can't even imagine. The songs, the shows, the impact, it's all there. Nothing left to prove. Nothing left to chase. So the question changes. It's no longer, what's next? It becomes, why keep going? And for him, the answer started to feel clear. There were also personal reasons he chose not to fully share. Time with family. Time away from the noise. Time to live without a schedule that's been controlling his life for decades. Those things don't make headlines the same way a new tour does. But they matter more. The truth is, this goodbye wasn't sudden. It had been building for years. The slower pace. The fewer appearances. The shift in how he talked about the future. It was all leading here. By the time he said it out loud, the decision had already been made. And maybe that's the hardest part for fans to accept. Not that he's leaving, but that he's ready to leave. Because for Billy Joel, this isn't a loss. It's an ending he chose.